Never focus on one method alone. If all you're doing is becoming one-dimensional in the way you build your business, then you will teach that and your entire team will become one-dimensional. So we always say that you need to be master and skillful at all the methods of marketing. That doesn't mean to say you won't have a preference, but you need to be able to coach, teach, and implement an action yourself. So content marketing is really easy. Content marketing is when you're out and about, you chat with somebody at the restaurant, you chat with somebody at the school gates, you maybe chat with someone when you're shopping, you may be in a queue to get onto the boat, you chat with somebody, and you chat in a way whereby you can immediately connect. You've got about 30 seconds to connect for them to like you, and before you know it, you're in conversation and you swap details. Let me give you an example of the power of content marketing. I was in London, and it was a wet, miserable day, as it is often in London. And I parked my car in the car park, and I was running late for a meeting. Now in London, when you park your car, you have to go and get a ticket, put it on your car to show you've paid. Now my car was parked here, and the ticket machine was way over there. And I had to get to the ticket machine before the traffic warden came to give me a ticket to say you didn't pay. So I jump out of my car, I'm running towards the ticket machine, and suddenly coming towards me was this beautiful black lady. She was so beautiful, and her hair was amazing. She had coloured beads in it. And on that grey, wet winter's day, she was like a ray of sunshine. Now, the average FBO would have walked by and said nothing to her. But I'm not average. So what I did is I stopped and I went, "Wow, you look amazing." Now, she didn't know who I was, and she kind of did a double take. And I said, "Your hair is absolutely beautiful." And she said, "Thank you." I said, "Where are you from?" She said, "I'm from Ghana." And I said, "Today is your lucky day." And she said, "Why?" I said, "Because you met me." Now, just at that moment, I saw the traffic warden walking towards my car. Now I've got a dilemma. I want to talk to her, but I don't want to get a ticket. So I said, "Look, what's your name?" She said, "My name's Florence." I said, "Florence, that's a beautiful name. My name's Jane, don't forget my name. But I can't talk to you right now because I'm going to get a parking ticket." I said, "Let's swap numbers very quickly. You and I need to talk." She said, "Okay, fine." We swapped numbers. I waved goodbye. I said, "Don't forget me. My name's Jane, Jane Leach. Don't forget my name." She went, "I won't." And off I went. Now that was on Friday morning. Friday night when I got home, I rang her. I said, "Hey Florrie, it's Jane. Jane Leach, you won't have forgotten me." She said, "Jane, I did not forget you." And we started talking. I asked her all about herself. I asked her about what she did, her children, her family. It was all about her. Nothing about me, nothing about Forever. And then, eventually, she said, "What do you do?" And I told her what I did. And I said, "Florrie, you need to come and take a look. It could be amazing for you." That was on the Friday night. On the Monday night, she came along to a business presentation. She loved it. On the Wednesday, she registered, and 3 months later, she went manager. Wow. Now, the reason I share that story with you is because most people walk with their heads down. They don't see who's around them. They don't smile. They don't make eye contact. And they could be walking past a diamond. Let me share another quick story with you. I have an amazing guy in my team called Richard. And Richard was an accountant. And he didn't like contact marketing. He was very shy. And I said, "Richard, you've got to learn to do it. You can't just be one-dimensional." And eventually we took him out contact marketing and he plucked up the courage to have a go. Anyway, one day he's in the bank. And he's standing in the bank and there's a queue here and there's a queue here. It's very slow. And in his mind, he heard my voice saying, "Come on, Richard, talk to somebody. Come on, Richard, you can do it." And he looked to the left and he went, "No." And he looked to the right and he saw a beautiful black woman. And this is what he said. He said, "It's slow in here today, isn't it?" She went, "Yes." And he said, "Where are you from?" She said, "Nigeria." He said, "I think we have a business there." And they exchanged numbers. And to cut a long story short, they met. He showed her the business. He brought her to me. I talked to her. She joined Forever and went on to be a double diamond. Now, my question to you is, will you embrace the power of engaging with people to extract 10 numbers per week as part of your marketing strategy? It could be that one week you talk to people, nothing happens. The next week you talk to people, nothing happens. The next week you talk to people, nothing happens. The next week you talk to people, somebody says yes. This is about consistent, repetitive action on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. So this becomes part of our marketing strategy. Now the next thing is, and I'm so sorry I didn't bring any with me, is we use what we call marketing cards. And these marketing cards are very classy cards. One of them is a white card with the Forever Smile logo. And whenever you give someone that, it always makes them smile. And when somebody smiles, they're always open to talking to you. On the back of the card is a very nice message, which entices people to want to find out what you do and what could be in the business for them. Another card we have, this is a really good one. This has got a picture on the front of an accountant, a lawyer, it's got a mum, it's got a retailer, it's got a marketing person, it's got a student. And all it says on the bottom is, what do all these people have in common? And then when you flip it over, there's a brilliant message that we've designed that engages people and wants them to pick up the phone and say, "Hey, what is this?" So part of our marketing strategy is we give out through the letterbox into the hand. Maybe you leave them at the doctor's, the dentist, the nurse, the vet, wherever, but you give these out and we call it leaving a paper trail. Let me share a story with you. I give out cards everywhere I go. Whenever I'm working, literally if I have a coffee, I leave my card. If I'm at an appointment, I leave my card. Everywhere I go, I leave my cards. My cards are a way of people picking it up, getting curious, putting it in their pocket, and knowing that they've got something that one day they can call me. So I get a phone call one day, and there's a girl called Sally. Sally said, "Hey, is this Jane?" I said, "Yeah, surely is." "Jane, my name's Sally." I said, "Hey, Sally, how are you?" And we got chatting, and she said, "You know something? I've had this card of yours at home on my mantelpiece for 9 months. She said, today I've had a really bad day at work, and I suddenly saw your card, and I thought, why not give you a call and find out what you do?" And I said, "You know what, Sally? Today's your lucky day." She said, "Why?" And I said, "Because you had the courage to pick up the phone and speak to me. And what I want to do is give you some information which will show you an opportunity that can change your life, where you're in control, where we will value you, we will empower you, we will develop you, we will help you achieve all that's important to you, and you'll be happy." She joined the business and went on to be a Sapphire manager. Now, the point I'm making is we're being proactive, and proactivity is what creates awareness of who we are and what we do. If you sit at home all day behind your computer waiting for someone to knock on your door, let me tell you something, it ain't going to happen. In the 20 years I've been in Forever, nobody's knocked on my door and said, Jane, sign me up. Nobody. I've had to go out and interact with people, create relationships, nurture people. Now, the next area that we focus on as part of our weekly activity is understanding the power of no. How many people in this room have prospected somebody and they said no to you? Now, every single hand should go up right now. Okay, a bit of a delayed reaction to the translation. How do we feel when somebody says no? How do we feel? We feel bad. We feel disappointed. We begin to think, oh, have I made the right decision? Don't we? We begin to think that maybe they're right and we're wrong. All these emotions go through our heads. And what happens is, the more no's we get, the more disconnected we get from the opportunity. But you see, for me, a no is not a no. I never accept the word no. Do you want to know how to turn a no into a yes? You ready? Yes. So, when somebody says no to you, let's just say that I've had a chat with somebody and they said, you know what, Jane, thanks very much, but no, it's not for me. I go, that's okay, no problem. You know, I did just call you out of the blue, and I totally understand that the timing might not be right for you at this moment. However, I really, really like you, and I love the fact that you're great with people. I love the fact that you're a phenomenal communicator, and I've always loved the fact that you're ambitious. So why don't you and I keep in touch? Why don't I give you a call maybe just after Christmas? And you know what they say? They go, all right, yeah. And guess what? The no becomes a yes. And I put them in my diary so I know that I have to call them in January. And then in my prospecting book, I make a note of the conversation we had and the fact that I absolutely have to call back on the day that I said I was going to call them. Then I ring them in January and say, hey, it's Jane, how you doing? I look at my notes. Did you have a great Christmas? What did you do? Where did you go? And we get into conversation. And I just say, is the timing right for you and I to have a get-together right now? And they could say, no, it's not. And I go, don't worry, no problem. I'm really busy at the moment anyway. But I did just think I'd keep in touch with you. Why don't we speak maybe at the end of February? And they go, okay. Now let me share a quick story with you. I prospected a lady called Jackie. She was one of the very first people I ever spoke to. And she said no. And I was devastated because I didn't understand the word no at that time. But I thought to myself, you know what, I'm going to keep in touch with her. And I prospected her, and I prospected her, and I prospected her, and I prospected her, and she kept saying no, 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 no. But she was always watching what I was doing. And then one day, John and I were in the shops. I walked into the shop and literally bumped straight into her. I went, hey Jackie. She went, hey Jane, how you doing? And before I could go, let me tell you something, she went, I'm ready, I'm in. I went, what? She said, I'm ready, let's get started. Do you know how long that took me? 7 years. Somebody's watched this training before. And you know what happened? She was our 25th manager and sent us diamonds. So, my point is, you won't have to wait for 7 years, but a no is never a no, it's just no today. You follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up, until. Do you get that? Because if you turn a no into a yes, it means that in the next 2 to 3 to 4 months, you'll have plenty of people every single day to talk to. On top of that, we ask for referrals. You know, I called a girl once called Claire. She was a lawyer. She said, Jane, it's not for me. And I went, is that a no, not now, Claire, or a no, not never? She said, a no, not never. It's just not for me. Not really into it. I love what I do. I said, okay, if it's not for you at this moment, do you know anybody else like you? I'm looking for people who are ambitious, I'm looking for people who are good communicators. I'm looking for people who are great people, and I'm looking for people who may want to change their life. Do you know anybody? She said, leave it with me, call me tomorrow. I called her the next day, she gave me 3 numbers. I called those 3 numbers, 2 said no, 1 said yes, and went on to be a supervisor. Now you see, most people don't ask. My mum always said to me, if you don't ask, you don't get. So I ask. What's the worst thing they can say? No. In which case I say, no problem, let's talk later. You need to have a social marketing strategy. Now, I'm not going to go into social media marketing right now, but this is a great method to build your business, but not in isolation. If you just sit in front of a computer day in, day out, blasting out messages to people you don't know, I promise you, not only will you get despondent, not only will you get fed up, but you'll not be able to teach it. However, you need to have a great social media presence. And if you haven't yet watched Angela Loughran's training on how to prepare yourself nicely on social media, go and watch it. But the most important thing is when we reach out to people on social media, it becomes part of our strategy. And I always say that you need to be creating relationships of between 15 to 20 people a week on social media platforms. This is about creating relationships, and you interact with people socially much in the same way as you would on a one-to-one basis. On top of that, we have local advertising, and local advertising could be in school magazines, it could be on notice boards, it could be in local newspapers. I'm not talking about spending a fortune. When John and I first started, we used to spend £20 on a small advert, maybe in a parish council magazine, and a lot of it was about raising people's awareness of who we are and what we do. And I can honestly tell you that in the first year of building our business, we recruited a lot of people from our marketing through advertising. But it's part of our strategy. We didn't do it every day, we didn't do it every week. We did it once a month, and all the leads that came in became part of who we spoke to on a daily basis. Now I want you to understand that when you implement a marketing strategy, you don't do it half-heartedly. My advice to each and every one of you as leaders in this room is that you embrace learning each of these methods and then teach them as and when needed to your team. Because if you have a team full of people who are only making 1 contact a day, 2 contacts a week, maybe only recruiting 1 person a month or 1 person every other month, you will never become giants in our industry. But if you are yourself creating a pipeline of active leads, of people that want information, whether it be a video, whether it be a one-to-one, whether it be a website, whether they come to a meeting, whether they see the product first, but you need a list of about 20 to 30 active prospects at any one time. And from that, you will find there is about an 8 to 12 week lead-in time from when you've done the action to when you get them ready to do a base month for supervisor. Now some people will join on day 1, get going really quickly, and others take a little bit longer. So we say on average between 4 to 12 weeks. I promise you, and normally this marketing strategy I do in about 2 hours, going into real depth and detail about how it works. But I hope I've given you a really phenomenal overview of the fact that if you embrace and implement a marketing strategy and treat your business with the respect it deserves, where every single day you are proactive, talking to people, bringing them to look at the opportunity, recruiting, and then planning with them to be a manager, I promise you within 1 year, you too could go from being an eagle to being a senior or a soaring eagle or even a GLT member. Now, I want to prove a point here to you. So I want to invite an incredible young woman to come and share her story with you.